Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. So I just want to say first of all, welcome, and I'm so glad that you're considering practicing with me in the chair yoga with the resistance bands class. So this video is basically to give you a little bit of an idea of what kind of equipment you might need. Some of the things can be substituted for things around your house. So if you don't have everything, it's okay. But these are some of the tools that you might find helpful. And also to give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. Okay, so first let's look at some of the tools we call props. Sometimes they're called props. So the resistance bands, if you don't have a set, I recommend, again, you don't have to have it right away. If you just have any exercise resistance band, that's fine. If you can get like a little set that has like 3 different strengths, if you will, like a light, a medium, and a heavy, that might be helpful because they're used for different things. Sometimes you want a lighter band for certain things and a heavier one for others. But even just a single band to start out with is fine, okay? Now, light weights. They could be 1, 2, or 3 pounds. Basically, this is one of the only things we're going to be using these for, is this kind of an exercise here. And also maybe some triceps. So you don't have to have weights. If you have water bottles, that's fine too. You can substitute them with just a bottle of water. Okay, then a strap. Now this is a yoga strap, but it doesn't technically have to be a yoga strap. You can use a towel, a belt, a bathrobe tie thing. But you know, a strap might be a good choice just because of the length of it. It's kind of nice to have. If you don't have one, that's okay though. Alrighty, now a couple of optional items. Blocks. So there are different kinds of yoga blocks, and I'll put links to things in the email so you can see where you might find the kind that I would maybe suggest. So blocks come in different materials and they come in different sizes. They're generally speaking always this height. Okay, but and also usually this wide, but this deep. Some of them are thinner, some of them are less deep. I prefer this thickness, and the reason why is it's a little bit more stable. Now, materials. This one is made of like a foam rubber, like a denser foam rubber. It's light, like the styrofoam blocks. They're also styrofoam blocks. The styrofoam blocks are really light, but they're not very stable. They also make them out of like cork and wood, but they're like heavy and kind of dense and maybe, you know, a little more than you need. I think they're also often more expensive. Mr. Lookbook says hello. Okay. But I like these particular kind. They're sturdy enough without being heavy. You can have 1 or 2. They often come in a set. And a blanket. Now, a blanket is just used at the end if you get chilly and you want to just use this to kind of keep you warm while we're in like a little bit of a seated meditation at the end, or to wrap around you, you could do that. Okay, so those are optional items. The blocks, this towel, and the other stuff is really kind of neat, at least one stretch band or resistance band, a yoga strap, and weights. Now, the other thing is, shouldn't forget the most important thing, probably a chair. Now, you'll notice what I'm using here is a folding chair. It's a simple folding chair, but it's pretty sturdy. Okay, so you don't want it to be really flimsy. You want to make sure it gives you some support, and it's pretty sturdy, but it doesn't have to be a major chair. Also, there are no arms, so we want to try not to have arms because they'll get in the way of some of the movements. And no wheels, because you don't want it to wheel away on you when you're doing things. Now, you see I'm on a yoga mat here. That's optional. If you have a sticky mat, great. If you're on rug or carpet, that should be fine. You probably don't need anything at all. If you're on a hardwood surface, however, you might want to consider, even if it's a cheap, thin, non-skid sticky mat. Now, they're different than exercise mats. Exercise mats tend to be thicker. And I don't know if you can really see in the camera, but I actually have a few of them because I practice a lot on the hardwood floor and I find it more comfortable to stack them sometimes. So I have a towel, a mat, and another mat. You don't need all this. This is just because this is where I practice in the morning. But you'll see the bottom mat is a very thin mat. I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but it's very thin. It's a cheapo little thing. And the reason why I want you to have that if you're on hardwood is so that your chair doesn't slide away from you. If you're on a rug, though, it shouldn't be a problem, okay? You do want to practice, if you can, in bare feet or sneakers. Okay, no socks, not just socks. Either sneakers or bare feet. If you can do bare feet, that might be better. Okay, so those are some of the tools, the equipment. And again, I'm going to put in the email that comes with this video, the link to different things that you can purchase if you so choose. And now to discuss a little bit of what you would maybe expect in each class. So each class is going to start from a seated position. It's called something we call a centering, where we just kind of let go of what happened earlier in the day and just kind of allow our bodies to simply be present here and now, and feeling the chair beneath you, feeling the feet on the floor, just kind of connecting with the room you're in and connecting to your body, to the internal landscape within you. So often our senses are pushed and pulled in all these different directions, and we want to try to bring our awareness to the present moment. And we start that through using awareness of the breath and the body. So we would start in a centering, and then we would actually take a few minutes just to breathe. And then we would come to a nice seated position with a straight spine and do some nice gentle warm-ups from a seated position, and even maybe some strengthening things from a seated position, maybe some things to get the joints moving a bit and to strengthen the legs. And then we would do maybe some standing exercise bands, resistance bands, silly me. Okay, so the resistance bands are going to be used for different exercises, and we would change weights for different exercises, but for demonstration purposes and explaining things, I'm just going to stick with one. So different things that we could be doing with the exercise bands are rows, pulling, bicep curls, and this, flies. Okay? So those are most of the exercises we're going to be doing with the straps. Quite honestly, you don't have to do a whole lot of different exercises to get a lot of results. Those are the main muscles that we're going to be focusing on with some of the resistance bands. And then we would do maybe either seated yoga postures. You can do them from a chair like you do in a regular chair and many chair yoga classes, or you can do them standing, but using the chair for some assistance. Okay? So some exercises that we might do would be like let's see, I'll just move this way. So maybe like a forward fold where we have the hands on the chair. And this is kind of like a downward facing dog. And you can bend the knees. So we would be using a chair to help us. And you can use the back of the chair as well. It doesn't have to be the seat. If our hamstrings are tight, that's quite all right. Okay, so we could do things like that. And we might actually practice like a warrior pose. But as you can see, the chair just gives us this opportunity to do so without having to get up and down from the floor, and to do so safely. Okay? And then after that, we might do something like chair hovers. These are really good for strengthening the legs. And basically, we just slowly come down, maybe hover, and then come back up, and then slowly come down, and maybe hover, and then come back up, and just do things like that that will help us develop the strength to get up and down from chairs with ease. And then following that, we would do some gentle stretches. So maybe some ties using the strap like a yoga strap. We might do some shoulder stretches like that, and just getting a little bit of a stretch there. We may take the strap around the foot and extend it and just get a little bit of a stretch there, or even do the stretch with the foot on the floor. That's fine too. Okay. Another stretch that we might use the strap for is hands behind the back and opening up the shoulders. So there are a lot of things that we can do with that. And then we would basically come back to a seated position and for a little bit of a seated meditation. So that's pretty much what we would be doing in each class. So I hope that's helpful for you to give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.